Hello, I'm Michael Rashad, and welcome to The Art of Art, which is a vlog, a video blog for the pigment community, tips and tricks. And I've been coloring using pigment for about 7-8 months now, and I do a lot of it, and I love it. And I'm always experimenting, trying to create unusual and different effects in my coloring. And I use bright colors. You can see I like bright because I'm wearing a bright pink shirt. And one of the ways that I've found really effective is to create unusual and different backgrounds to that most people do. I mean, it's easy to apply a texture to a background, it's easy to apply a color or a fade, all sorts of different effects. But they're just standard effects, and I like to do something more than that. So I've come up with some techniques through trial and error, experimentation, which is the only way to learn and find out different ways of doing things. And in this video, I'm going to share with you one of the techniques that I use all the time that's very, very effective, and lots of comments that I get from other pigment users are they love my backgrounds. Now, I'm not an artist. I've made no claim to be. My parents were, but I'm not. But I do like coloring, and I like to create pieces that really pop. And the technique that I'm going to teach you in this video will do that for you. So let's get started. First thing we're going to do is we're going to go to the brushes palette and we're going to choose textures, and then we're going to pick a texture. Now, I use quite a few, but I like modern and pencil C most. So in this one, I'm going to use modern. And I'm going to color the entire image, so I need to set it to freehand. Pick a color. It honestly doesn't matter which one you pick. It's your personal preference, and it can be a dark color, and you'll see why in a minute. Now, as you can see, I've chosen this kind of a dark blue, and I know you think it's too dark, but it won't be, trust me. Once you've colored the entire image, go back to the brushes and select the blur tool and set the blur tool to 100% opacity. Now, you can vary this opacity, and I want you to experiment with it, but for the moment, typically on the first pass, I'm going to use 100% opacity. Now that I've blurred it, you'll see that it's already become lighter. You can actually see the image there. But what you might not realize without looking closely is that the background has now suddenly got depth. It's as if you've created this background that it's floating on, the image is floating on. And this will be increased in a minute. But it's a very interesting effect, and it's to do with the objects in the front are sharp and the objects in the back are blurred. Now we're going to choose the splatter brush, and we're going to go back to the color palette, or rather the color at the bottom, and we're going to select a lighter shade of it, much, much lighter than the base shade. And we're going to splatter all across the picture as just crazy. Take the pencil and dance across the screen. Now listen to the sound of it so you can hear what it actually sounds like, give you an idea of what you're going to be doing. And you're going to cover as much of the picture as you want, doesn't matter. Now you're going to choose a slightly darker shade, and you're going to repeat the same thing until it's completely and utterly obliterated and it looks like a complete mess. But it won't. Now the last thing you have to do is you go back to the blur tool, select blur, and blur the entire image. And now you've got this wonderful background where you've got this kind of swirling clouds in the distance behind the picture. And all we have to do now is color it. Now, a lot of the time, for me, I'm only going to color certain images or certain parts of the image. I'm not going to color everything. I'm certainly not going to go over and eliminate the background that I've just spent a few minutes creating, because that's an interesting part of the piece. And now we have the finished piece. Now you'll notice that I've actually got splashes of different colors in the background too. And what I've done is I've gone back to the splatter brush, I've picked different colors from the image, and I've splattered them across, and then I've blurred it at about 60% opacity. So they're more dominant and obvious than the splatters that were blurred at 100%. Now, I encourage you to try it and experiment and see how you get along. And if you use any of these backgrounds, please tag me so I can actually see what you've done, because I'll be very proud of you. And please share the video with members of the community who perhaps haven't seen it, or your friends who are interested in art. And let's see where we go. Thanks for your time. I'm Michael Rashad. See you on the other side of the art of art. Bye-bye now.